It's a Monday, and this is the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Wow, amazing. It's Monday yet again. They never stop. It's always
They sneak
Monday.
up on you.
Yeah, it's Garfield's favorite day, you know? That's how it goes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. He loves Mondays. It's the
Very
best
well
day.
established in the crossover continuity with Sonic.
Yes.
That the internet just heralds and treasures so deep.
Well, I mean, they literally packaged the Sonic and Garfield games together that one time for PC, so that means it's canon. Yep, that happened.
John Arbuckle lives in Station Square.
That makes sense. It makes as much sense as anything else.
Odie and Mutsky were separated from the same litter. It all fits. It all makes sense.
It all works out. It's yeah, that works out for me. I've adopted that into my personal headcanon. It's perfect.
Normal winds up in Shamar instead of Abu Dhabi every once in a while.
Yeah, sure. Why not? How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm itching to get into these priority questions that come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Sounds wrong with you saying just slash, I gotta say, you know? Even though it's correct now, it's wrong for you.
Do you want me to go back to tradition? Comment below.
Whatever.
Whether you want me to make a fool of myself or if you want me to be accurate.
Whatever you want to do, buddy. I mean, it's up to you. If making a fool of yourself is wrong, then why are we doing this show?
Very good point. Very good point.
All right. Well, let's jump in, not waste any more time, with a question from Alex GS. What would you say are some do's and don'ts for bringing dead characters back to life? How do you set the stage for this kind of scene if it's meant to be a plot twist? Is it all about the foreshadowing? If another character in the story is impacted by this death, how do you manage the risk of undermining any development they've gone through as a result of it?
Personally, I feel like if you're going to pull the death cheat, that needs to be built in from the get-go. Now, serialized comics, I realize that's a laughable statement, but I feel like that if you're going to do the death cheat, then you need to have it in mind when you write the initial death. And so that you have an idea of what's going to happen afterwards, rather than go forward with one idea and then have to retcon and undercut yourself later. In the case of the pre-reboot Archie stuff, where we had intended for Antoine to get blown up for good, and even with him in the coma, we had the game plan in mind on how he would be brought back and what lengths the Freedom Fighters would have to do that. And it would not have been easy. It was not going to be a done-in-one adventure. This is going to be like the greatest epic, heroic action the team ever took upon themselves. Because you're cheating death. That should be important. It should come with some kind of consequence. It shouldn't just be, you grab the Dragon Balls and boop, it's undone. That being said, within the context of Dragon Ball, when the premise that death itself is somewhat meaningless is established, and then the Dragon Balls themselves were removed, and now death had consequence, to me, that felt like it had a little extra gravitas to it. It's like, oh, wait, there is peril now.
Now it means something. Yeah.
Which I don't know if would have had same weight if it was just normal. Yeah, death sucks. So, and there's a deeper discussion to be had there and overall, but you definitely want to have, what you want the characters to do in reaction to the death, and you need to think ahead of what is it going to be when that dead character comes back? How do they come back? What circumstances? Is the death cheat built in? Like, do you have a plan going in? Is there a place where the reader can go, oh, I see, that makes sense, they planned that all along? Or is it, bibbity bobbity boom, he's back? That's not satisfying for anybody. So it's all about planning and execution. I'm not a big fan of it overall. I feel like if you're going to kill off a character, it should stick. And if they do get brought back, there needs to be a very good reason for it. I know what you're asking around. You're asking around Starline. And good on you for casting a broad net.
I was about to bring it up, but you did my job for me. Well, I guess I'll leave.
There is a way for us to have Starline come back. That has been already established. We know we can call upon that if we need to. If we were to bring him back, whether it's me or Evan or somebody else, there needs to be a reason why. Because Starline's story at this point is complete. He was the apprentice. He had his disenfranchisement. He rose to his greatest heights and then pulled an Icarus and went kersplat. So that arc for him is done. We have fully explored that aspect of his character. If he were to come back, it's basically Starline 2.0. What is he bringing new to the table? What are we exploring with him that we couldn't have done before with Starline 1.0, you know? But right now we've got Surge and Kit to investigate. We've got a lot of cool stuff lined up for 2024. There's a lot of threads to pull with the current IDW stuff. So I don't foresee that particular line being followed up on anytime soon.
Not going to follow that particular star line for a while.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Starline fans. You might have to wait a very long time, if ever.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't, write in. If you want to see him back, by all means, write into IDW's letter pages and social media and ask for your horrible, vile, nasty piece of work to come back. And, mayhap plans can be accelerated. I don't know. I don't have full control. I just work here on occasion when they let me.
What? You don't have full control? Are you sure about that? I've heard different from other people who aren't you, so I know they're automatically more trustworthy.
Yes, well, some people also like to take horse tranquilizers. What can I say?
You know what? I'm not going to kink shame anybody. You do you, guys. You do you. Here's a question from AlphaMod or Yukit. Suppose in an alternate version of events, Dr. Starline, quote-unquote, created Surgeon Kit before he was brought back and was eventually employed by Dr. Eggman, and Bell was even dragged into the events much earlier, becoming a sort of, quote-unquote, team for the Egg Empire as a result. What do you think their dynamic would be like with not only each other, but the good doctor's inventions? How would they contribute to the Metal Virus arc?
That is complicated, especially since we intentionally cut Surge and Kit from the early Metal Virus planes because it's too much.
It was, yeah.
It would have been way too much. We would have, God, you're probably looking at least another half a year of that thing. And it, I mean, whether you loved the arc or you didn't, everyone can agree it kind of ran long.
Yeah.
And coming from me, who really wanted to keep it succinct, it ran long. So,
I mean, you tried. You really tried. You really did.
I could have cut some stuff maybe here and there, but I feel like it would have been a disservice. But that's a whole other discussion. That's not the question.
You're the guy who did super long arcs during the Archie run.
Yeah,
and I mean, even if you're saying the Metal Virus arc was too long, then
I don't know, too long, but it's good it ended when it did.
Yeah, it
didn't need to go longer.
It was time.
But I guess Surgeon Kit's personal arcs of self-discovery and rebellion would have been more drawn out rather than held within the context of just the miniseries. And Belle, I imagine, would have had a similar crisis of identity concerning Mr. Tinker, but within the context of being next to him the whole time. So rather than being within the nurturing environment of the Restoration and wondering because she was so far away from him, she would have been in the very oppressive and probably abusive environment of the Eggman Empire and figured out real darn quick this wasn't her papa. This is not the man who made her. and would probably run the risk of running afoul of Starline as well, who would have been still, completely gaga for Eggman at this point. So it could have been an interesting dynamic, to be sure. Belle escaping the Eggman Empire to flee to the heroes amid the metal virus. And as a construct herself, she would have been immune, so that might have been an interesting turn of events. But it would have added 2 or 3 hefty subplots to an already long epic. And I don't know if it would have serviced the horror theme. Because part of the whole thing with Metal Virus was the ever-escalating terror and the sense of no one is safe and no one is secure. And having very personal story arcs of growth within a story about everything being torn down, I don't know if that could work. Maybe it could, but I don't know. I much prefer the way we have things right now.
Alrighty. Here's a question from Andrew D. So, if Origins cutscenes are canon, then how did the Death Egg robot land in Hidden Palace Zone when the Death Egg landed in Launch Base Zone? Is Hidden Palace Zone located under Launch Base Zone, or did the Death Egg robot get separated from the Death Egg, perhaps in an attempt to flee the falling space station during its fall?
The latter.
I mean, that would make some sense. Although, it's funny because in Sonic 2, when Sonic destroys the Death Egg robot, like the legs and arms disappear and fall off, and it's just the main body. So, like, how did it get down there?
It bounced.
Oh, okay. Did it have?
I mean, also the proper ending for Sonic 2 has him turning Super Sonic to re-enter the atmosphere, and you can't do that because there's no rings. So let's not quibble too much about the intricacies of classic era narratives.
Okay, let's do that with modern era narratives instead then.
Oh, sure. Lots more to chew on there.
I suppose. Or maybe it's just a blue hedgehog and it's just a video game. We should really just relax. Nah. Here's a question from Arcfighter. I was curious, while Gemerl isn't designated as an E-Series robot, he is technically a mimicry of Emerald built by Eggman, the same as E1215 robots. So, would he then sort of be considered a quote-unquote finalized version of E1215 and thus an E-Series like Omega and Gamma?
Interesting take. See, the thing is, we're not 100% sure just what Gemerl is. If he is a knockoff of Emerald, or if he is rebuilt from the remains of Emerald, it's still not very clear. And the Phi series, I don't know, they feel like they were all like the low-end knockoffs, but if Gemerl's like the culmination of that research, it would make sense. It'd fit well enough. I don't know. That's probably something worth bringing up with SEGA and saying, hey, was this the intention? Is this fanon that's going to be adopted? It could go either way. I kind of like Gemerl being his own thing, though. Like, personally, having him be the final E21 takes away from his individuality a little bit. I say this as, the robot that is clearly built off of the previous model, but I kind of like the idea of Gemerl being Emerald's successor, like his reincarnation or his brother or his descendant or something, rather than he's part of the E100 line,
Yeah.
That's like splitting hairs. That's totally down to personal preference, but that's just my take.
Why can't he be both? I don't know. Here's a question from Off. All writers look back and cringe at some of their own writing. Off the top of your head, what are some of your personal, I can't believe I've done that moments in writing?
There's a, unfortunately, still fairly well-known fan comic I did back in my angsty teen years that, credit where it's due, I had a lot of incredibly talented artists who donated a ludicrous amount of time and energy to it. Lots of love and attention to it, lots of alternate translations, for pity's sake. So, in that regard, I can't be too cringy over it because it was a labor of love, and Lots of folks did enjoy it. And a lot of free effort was put into it, which I will always be thankful for. And it was a very good learning experience. No, I'm not going to mention it by name. No, I'm not going to offer a link. I don't want you to look at it. It's awful. If you can find the time capsule, fine. I read it. But looking back on it, it's like, whoa, you thought you were hot stuff back then, didn't you, kid?
And it also does not reflect your current anything. So,
oh, God, no.
Yeah. It gets thrown around as like, see, Ian's a bad writer. Here's this thing he wrote 30 years ago as a child. That proves it. Okay. It was 20 years ago, not 30.
Wait, was it? No. That the math doesn't work out there. It's been a long time ago, at least.
20 years? It wasn't 2002?
Cripes, was it?
I thought it was like 2000, the early 2000s rolling into mid. Didn't you start at Archie when?
2006?
7? 2006?
5.
2006.
Well, 526 it was.
So it would have been, around... You started apparently in 06. So it would have been probably around 2002, 2003. Prime angsty teen years. Because everything was that back in early 2000s. I don't know. Don't look that up. Or do. Whatever. Just don't take it as like anything relevant today. Here's a question from Axis. What characters do you think would tear out the dance floor based on any kind of official media?
Well, Sonic, obviously.
I mean, the guy's a breakdancing fool, man.
I think Eggman would surprise you.
Oh, well, I've seen him work a pole. So, yeah.
Rouge, I imagine, is pretty good. Shadow, if he wasn't previously, once he found out Sonic could, he made damn sure he could do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or, 50 years ago, Maria taught him the box trot, and of course I could dance.
I was into the Beatles back then, It was 50 years ago, so it would have been like, right prime time for that.
God, imagining him having Beatles mania.
Maria might.
Let's see. And number five. Well, we've seen Big Dance in game. It's his celebration pose, and that's just like the personification of grace. So
Tails does pretty well. In the movie, at least, he did.
That's true. Movie Tails, yeah. All right.
And I don't know. Amy would probably do pretty good, and like a partner dance, I think she would be good with.
Oh, Vector. Vector knows how to move.
Vector! Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. He can do it. And Boom Knuckles, of course. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only things, one of the few things he can do. Well, sure, that's good enough. We got more than 5. Here's one from Batman69 LOL. If Thanos from the Marvel Comics 616 universe came to the IDW Sonic universe with the intent to collect the Chaos Emeralds to wipe out half of all life, who would you have be snapped to have the most emotional impact on the heroes and villains side? And could the survivors stand a chance of stopping Super Thanos and getting their friends back? If so, how would they?
As predictable as it would be, I think Sonic's got to get snapped. To give Tails that moment of, I have to rise to the occasion. Thinking Eggman sticks around to be just absolutely livid that not only did he lose and get shown up by Thanos, but he stole his kill. Mm-hmm. He's been trying for that for 30 years. And so he
ignore Sonic is 15.
So he would completely throw himself into the cause of good just out of spite.
He would become the hero he was originally conceptualized as. Put him in the pajamas. It's time.
Maybe snap Knuckles for shock value, and Rouge takes up guarding the Master Emerald in honor of him.
Oh, irony.
I mean, she's got it. It's hers now.
I mean, she doesn't have, I guess she doesn't have any competition anymore.
Let's see. We're going to say Storm out of the Babylon Rogues so that Jet gets his act together and actually decides to be a competent leader.
Mm-hmm. Tangle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a horrible person.
And just so we don't have to put Whisper through the trauma again, they both get snapped at the same time. The last thing they see is them reaching for each other and poof.
Oh, I was going to put Whisper through more trauma just for the drama. But, okay, fine.
Now, if you want to go for the low-hanging fruit drama, Cream gets snapped and it's Vanilla who comes back with cheese.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oof.
Get an ice cream scoop for that heart of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Would the robots be safe? And
if they count as life,
and the
sapient
and the cyborgs,
they're alive. So yeah.
Okay. Well,
what does Surge do when she's lost her codependent anchor?
Oh boy!
And now Sonic's gone. She doesn't have anything to fixate on particularly. She can be who she wants to be, but who does she want to be? There's no one to gauge against and no one to reassure her without any kind of basis, but just be a positive reinforcement.
We're just snapping away all the children, I think. That's terrible, but funny. Like
it's recycling the scene, I admit, but Vector on his way out goes, "SBO, you're lead detective now."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing that one again. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Vector, yep.
As for how they do it, I don't know. Because with Thanos, if we're going MCU Thanos, he destroyed the Infinity Stones the first chance he got so that he couldn't be undone. But the Chaos Emeralds cannot be destroyed. So would he attempt to flee and safeguard their power for all time, a perpetual super state? Or would he try to hide them? I don't know. I'm not quite sure what avenue he would take, and thus what the heroes would have to do to get them back and unsnap everybody. Still a fun idea. And, if you're in the fanficky mood, run with it.
The question mentions 616 Thanos, not movie Thanos.
All right.
So
fair enough.
I don't know much about comic Thanos. He's very different. I know that much, but
it's been a long time since I read Infinity War. It's still a good read. Like, I go back to some of the older books, and it's a bit camp for me. It's a bit wordy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like how the way narrative construction has grown, but Infinity War has aged particularly well, I gotta say. Like, I was surprised just how much I enjoyed going through it. So,
well, spoilers, the movie universe is now also being dubbed 616, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, officially, not just, Mysterio making stuff up.
Right. They mentioned it in Doctor Strange and the
Multiverse of Mother. Doctor Strange and Mom.
The cinematic example of how not to do a sequel.
Uh-oh.
That's a whole other rant.
We never talked about that one. I thought it was all right. Anyway, I don't have a strong opinion on it. Chaos Sonic 1 is here with a question. So what exactly is the story behind Relic the Pica? I know this is going to be Lost Hedgehog Tales territory, but the Sonic fan in me is dying to know, which is frustrating.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be relieving at all, but there isn't much to her. She wasn't meant to have any kind of deep secret past or grand sweeping epic narrative. She was there to be a supporting character to Knuckles.
She's
She
just
was
a cool British spelunker who explores and adventures and does cool stuff because she's cool.
like she would be someone for Knuckles to bounce off of, a foil to explore the island with. We didn't have anything far reaching for her. She was just kind of there to give Knuckles someone to talk to since he was sequestered on that flying rock.
Yeah, I like that. I miss her. I think it's time to bring her back. Somebody do that now. Dreamboatin is here with our last question before we take a break. I'm throwing this in the queue to see how long it takes, but It's Morbin Time is still really funny in the future, right?
I don't know about really funny, but I think it's regarded with some fondness.
It was a nice thing. It was a very amusing thing that happened all those years ago. Wait, you mean it's only been like 2 months?
I don't know. It's one of those rare moments where everyone kind of came together and collectively shared a joke.
It's been a while.
Like, that was fun. And we've moved on.
Yeah. I think re-releasing it in theaters was the capstone.
Well, that was the punchline.
Yes, re-releasing it in theaters and having it fall flat a second time was very funny. That's a good way to cap it off. Just like this is a good way to cap off the first half of this episode of the BumbleKast.
Hey-o!
We're back, and here's a question from Dapper Shinks. What does a comic script, at least in your experience, actually look like? How's it formatted? How much intricacy do you exercise or advise exercising in terms of page layout and visual information? That kind of thing.
You can actually see a script sample over at bumbleking.com. Thank you for this question because it prompted me to make sure that link worked. It didn't, but now it does. So head over to bumbleking.com. It's under the downloads menu on the right-hand side, and it's a manuscript sample, and you can see just how I format my scripts. That is not the way to format scripts. There's a variety of different ways to tackle it, but that was the style I was taught, and looking at other formats, I kind of like mine. That, of course, that's partly because that's what I'm familiar with, but with a script, you have to find that delicate balance between being descriptive without being verbose. You don't want to say something like, and then Sonic fights a robot, because that tells the artist nothing. You know, how is Sonic fighting the robot? What angle is he approaching the robot from? What robot is he fighting? There's only 500 of them. Is this meant to be a serious conflict? Is this supposed to be a comedic beat? Does Sonic hit it and keep moving? Does he stand his ground and have a drawn-out fight? You need to give them some kind of information because they are working on a tight deadline. So the more information you can give to them so that they can do their thumbnails and their layouts and get right to the line art is less time and hassle and thought that they have to put into it. At the same time, you don't want to spend 3 paragraphs talking about every bit of minutia of that freaking robot. I mean, Sonic beats the robot. We know it happens. Keep up the pace here. So try to be direct, try to be descriptive, try not to be flowery, but you do want to, if you have a particular idea for a scene, I want this to be a comedic beat, or I want this to be a horror beat, or we're setting up a really dramatic panel here, but we're going to undercut it for comedic effect here.
What if you want it to be a Eurobeat?
Yeah, well, then you have to write out the oons at least 5 times.
Okay. And the drifting, of course. And important.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole formatting thing, but that's another episode entirely. And then almost kept a straight face. And one of the biggest pitfalls I see with folks who are, just learning to script or whatever, if you're writing some kind of mystery reveal, here's the shadowy figure, or this character is meant to be obscured early on, and then we're going to reveal them this many pages later, do not keep your artist in the dark. They are not reading this for fun. They do not need to be intrigued. They do not need to have that veil of mystery. They are working. They are realizing your vision. Be direct. So if this mysterious figure is on page 1, you say, this is so-and-so. We are keeping them obscured for a later reveal. They appear in silhouette or in shadow, or they're obscured by a stop sign, whatever. And then when they get to the reveal, you say, this is where we are revealing so-and-so, and go from there. Do not tease the artist with details. Be direct. Be informative. Help them as much as you can.
Yeah, don't be a jerk to your artist. That's not cool. All right, here's a question from Darth Grader. It's a great name. Sonic did not look like he was in danger, and Surge, to him, looked like she was emotionally broken. This was in issue 50. She seemed willing to talk. Why didn't he ask her to explain her backstory? Maybe he could compromise with prison, not suggest to an abuse victim to let her abuser go unpunished.
That is not what happened in the issue at all. Surge grabbed him by the throat and dragged him through a city at Mach speed and threw him into an iron fence rail. And when he asked who she was, she went on a long diatribe about how she was going to murder everyone because she's mad. He gave her a fair shot, more than once, to explain herself and back down. She chose not to rise to the occasion, and instead chose violence.
Well, I mean, that sounds about right. That sounds like her. Whatever. Good for her. Here's one from Digimon. So the current Pokemon anime, which I personally cannot believe is still going on. This is Kyle speaking,
really?
not the questioner.
It's Pokemon, man. Come on.
I know. I understand. I'm just amazed that the Pokemon anime is still going on. Like, it hasn't stopped. Like, there hasn't been a it didn't stop and then come back. It's still the same one.
Anyway, sorry. Question is
yes. So the current Pokemon anime has Ash enter a world tournament as he travels across all previous regions he's been to and rises up in the ranks for a chance to fight Leon. Unfortunately, this season has garnered mixed reception since it feels like it's not living up to its potential with the callbacks and character returns. Ian, if you were in charge of this and got creative freedom to do whatever with this concept, how would you handle things differently? I'm curious to see what you could offer, since you're a man who loves adding callbacks and references while also telling a good story.
Well, thank you, but I am way out of my depth here. I stopped following the anime back around the Orange Islands, okay? I watched a little bit of the Sun and Moon stuff, mostly for the subplot with that doofy little Eevee who's always getting into trouble. I think they ended up calling him Sandy. It was really cute. It was hilarious. But I haven't been devoted to Pokemon, the anime, in a long time. So I don't know what their context for their regions and champions and storylines and all that have been. And I have no idea what they've done with the World Tournament. I like that idea. That sounds really cool. But I don't know what they've done, and I don't know where they've fallen short, going by what Digimon's saying. So I would think the highlight should be, if we're going back to each region, like the companions he had per those regions should be prominent, to be sure. If he had, whoever his current companions are, if there's kind of a meet and greet between each of them and like a kind of a flashback sequence of, oh yeah, I met Ash when he wrecked my bike and said he'd pay me back, or I met Ash here, or remember that time Ash and I overcame this huge obstacle. It's like, wow, Ash, you're really traveled, and really focus on the bonds of friendship that last over distance and time. And then, let's see, I don't know how far Ash got in any of the leagues. I think in the original, he didn't even get to like the semifinals. Like, I think the Elite Four were just hinted at. Oof.
Finally win in Alola or somewhere?
Yeah, he won in Alola, but that was way later. So, highlight maybe the rivals that he lost to. See where they've gone since he's been traveling around. Have they risen further? Have they stagnated? Have they fallen? And he needs to encourage them to go back to where they were. You beat me in the past. Why have you fallen behind? Come on, let's together rise to the challenge and do the thing. Something inspirational like that. And then, just because I'm a sucker for the champions. Highlight them. Lance and Cynthia. I mean, my God, Cynthia, the champion of champions. Steven, what's her name? Diane? Shoot. It's been a long time since I brushed up on my Poke lore. Show off the Elite Four and maybe even have some of the, what were they called? The tower champions, the brains, the ancillary boss fights, cameos there. Really highlight who the creme de la creme of trainers are and show Ash standing his ground. Maybe not winning against some of them, but showing how much he's learned and how far he's come. And, maybe some of the Pokemon that he traded away or went off on their own just happened to come back. Like, didn't his Charizard, get released and fly away at some point? Have that come back at a pivotal. Yeah? Okay. Have it come back at a pivotal moment. It's like, oh, hey, it's Charizard. You're back. Let's kick their ass. Lots of little callback moments like that. The Butterfree that ran off to. Yeah, I know. That one I remember. The Butterfree that flew off. Have it come back in Johto or Kanto or wherever and help out. Or maybe not even, maybe in Hoenn, just for the kind of a, what is he doing over here? Oh, yeah, he flew off. And then, if you need greater, that's already a lot of stuff to do. And you really need to put your animation budget into the fights because that's what we're here for. Come on. A gigantic tournament arc, we need to have the flashy razzle dazzle. If that's not enough, go whole hog on Rainbow Rocket. Have Giovanni cultivate all the villains, and they're going to try to, I don't know, kidnap the victorious Pokemon or ruin the entire tournament for giggles, or with all these Pokemon in one place, we can summon up the great and powerful something mon, as a teaser for whatever the next generation is going to have, or make something up for the anime itself. Why not? They'll make it a plush. It'll sell money. So, have all the villains come back and interplay a little bit, maybe. I don't know, just make it a celebration of Pokemon. And at the center of it all, you have Ash and Pikachu who can use Thunderbolt and win every fight because why not?
They have plot armor.
Except they don't. I mean, truth be told,
I know.
Credit where it's due, Ash didn't win until Alola.
He kind of loses, but he never loses permanently, He's never.
No, that's part of the journey is continuing. So
yes, will he ever catch them all?
No,
never. He will not.
Also,
is he even trying? I doubt it.
You need to have all the professors together at some point. And maybe Rainbow Rocket is doing their evil thing and all the professors come together to collectively kick their butts because they're the Pokemon professors. They know all the critters. They know what they can do. They just don't fight. They research, but they know what to do. So toss out the Pokeballs. Well, Professor Kukui fights because Professor Kukui is the man. Okay? He's the best with a capital THE.
I'm being told that catching them all is not even Ash's goal. Well, then why the heck is it in the theme song? What is up with that?
They don't do that anymore, actually.
Oh. What, they don't do a theme song?
What? No. They phased out the Gotta Catch 'Em All slogan around Generation 3.
Oh. Why?
Because it became impossible.
So?
Like physically impossible. You couldn't trade between all the games. You couldn't catch everything, and they removed some of the features on Evolution so you could even get some of the stuff. It became untenable. Unfortunately, they marketed themselves too good, and it stuck.
Well, fine. I mean, whatever. I don't. Just goes up what to know. I know about Pokemon. I know nothing about Pokemon. I know Mudkip. I like Mudkip. I heard you like Mudkip. Are they going to have Mudkip in the new series? I mean, that would be my only request. Put Mudkip in there.
Didn't Ash have a Mudkip, or was that May?
I don't know who had the Mudkip. I just know that I heard that you liked Mudkip. Brock got the Mudkip, apparently.
Brock got a Mudkip. It's part ground, but he's a rock, Jim. Whatever.
I don't know, man. I know nothing. All I know is Mudkip.
I mean, I thought it was weird they had a Vulpix, for pity's sake, but it was cute, so I'm not really going to question it. I'm not going to deny a man a Vulpix. I mean, come on now.
Don't do that. Do not deny a man their Pokemon. All right, we got a question here from Dove. So it struck me that Eggman didn't kill Starline. Thanks to Bell's interruption, he did something much, much worse. He turned his back on Duckenstein. He left him. So, I'm curious, if the road hadn't collapsed on Starline, where would he have gone? What would have happened next? How insane would Starline have gone knowing that he not only failed, but he wasn't worth the effort for Eggman to end him?
Oh, Eggman would have finished him. It's just he got distracted.
Finish him.
Flawless victory.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. The symbolism of him, overlooking Starline there at the very end and walking away is insult to injury.
Mm-hmm.
But if Bell and Metal Sonic hadn't shown up, he would have finished the job.
Darn. Should have done that. Make Eggman a killer. I mean, he already is. That's kind of his thing. And we got a question from Duizdis Din. Ian, my fellow member in the Brotherhood of the Tofu. If you are reading this by September 17, 2022, it has been 5 years since Season 3 of Wakfu aired. Would you be willing to gush a bit about what you want to see in Season 4 when it comes out?
Okay, so give Evangeline something to freaking do, man. Like, she was the badass archer and, the start of Season 2 and that entire, rooftop chase with Remington. That went a little long, sure, but she was so freaking cool. And then the minute Grovey comes back, it's just and she's on the sideline. And then she gets pregnant, and now she doesn't do much. It's like, come on! Do something! I think we've seen enough of Grovey, or whatever you want to take his name to. Tristapan, Sadly Grove, however you want to translate it. We've seen enough of him. We've had plenty of arcs with Grovey. I like him. He is a Yops Yop. I'm not going to argue that. And his fight with the Dofus dragons, spectacular. Freaking adore it. Love the fact that he's with Rublex, although now I can't remember if he still was combined with Ruby at the end of Season 3 or not. Regardless, lots of fun has been had with him. Let's move on. We've done enough. He has been Yop himself. He has given up being Yop. He's done enough. He's a great side character now. Let's focus on other people. I like where Yugo's been going. He's been growing up. He's been having some angst. I understand it. Totally get you, kid. Like where he's growing and maturing and becoming. Amelia needs to be written better. Just there it is. I flat out, pick a direction with her. I know she can be a little flighty and princessy, but she's been on so many adventures. She's seen enough stuff. She needs to mature, for pity's sake. I mean, come on. Her whole thing with Oropo was, I get it, but it was a bad take on her, and it didn't make a lot of sense. And of course, a lot of stuff about Oropo was kind of loosey-goosey. So whatever, that's done. We're moving on. Grovey and Ava's kids, they're fun. I like how they grew up in Season 3 and all their antics. So I wouldn't mind seeing more of them. I want to see... I feel like they've been teasing this for forever, but Armand needs to make his power play among the Saditas. He has been done with Evangeline's nonsense for a while now. The king is very clearly on his way out. Amelia is, wherever everyone is in the realm of the gods or whatever. He needs to just take the throne. He's a jerk, sure, but he's not wrong. So make the power play, dude. Just do it. Let that shoe drop. You've been teasing this since Season 1. Just do it already. Given how Season 3 ended, I'm kind of curious where they're going with it, because it feels like we've reached the point where this is the end of Wakfu. When you have the principal cast enter the realm of the gods, and Oropo's whole deal was kind of to kill them off and restart the world with his own pantheon. That's some high level stuff. This Wakfu was born out of Ogress's rage back in Dofu, and that is small potatoes in comparison, okay? We're on a cosmic level here. So I'm almost wondering if this is meant to be the end of Wakfu and the start of, I don't know, Zufu? What comes after? I don't know. But do something with that. Tie it off, bring it to a close, end the chapter, round it off, let our heroes do their last great thing as the Brotherhood of Tofu and retire happily ever after and begin a new chapter elsewhere. I feel like there's a lot of really cool ideas throughout, but they aren't fully realized and they're kind of meandering. So, I mean, we already dealt with Rushu. We don't need to go back there. That was glorious. Loved everything about it, but now it's done. We don't really need to go back there. Let's wrap it up. Let's finish it off in a nice, big, bombastic way, to be sure. You know, you can't go small. We're dealing with gods and cosmic level stuff, but let's finish it. Because from here, if you keep going any higher, then you get like really crazy multi-cosmic Gurren Lagann level stuff, and then you kind of lose me. And Ruel can, I don't know, be present if he wants.
Just like me. I'm here, I think.
That said, I will pay a shiny nickel to see Ruel actually confront Introth, if that actually happens. That would be funny. That would be neat, but...
Nah, it's just fun to hear Ian go off. I don't know anything about Wakfu. I don't. I really don't. Very little. I've heard the Brotherhood of Tofu. That's all I know. And I think I did watch like the first episode ages ago.
I hate to say it, but if you have not watched Wakfu, it's on Netflix. Watch it in the original French. I'm no offense to the voice cast for the English, but listen to the original French.
Didn't they recast them all later?
Yeah, in season 3, but I'm saying if you're starting from the beginning. I mean, if you're going to start with the French, you might as well stick with it throughout. It always bugs me to go from one language to the other. That throws me off. Know that season 1 is very slow to start, and it's very monster of the week, kind of episodic. But once Knox and his plot kicks in, oh boy. Oh, it clicks. Oh, that's good. Knox. Just so good. Like one of the best antagonists. Just straight. Oh, I freaking love Knox. I've done this rant before. Season 2's pacing is kind of weird and all over the place, but the animation bump is clear and it's gorgeous in comparison. Not to say season 1's lacking, but season 2 is so much better visually. And it's a bigger story. It's a more epic story. It really starts getting into the shushu, the whole demon realm stuff, and that's a lot of fun. And man, once the season finale set of episodes kicks in, it's just escalation after escalation, and bar none, Gultard entering the final fight. Oh, I love it. Love it so much. That's some good stuff. That's just delightful. There's a kind of pseudo season. It's a 3-set OVA that follows up, that kind of bridges things and does a lot to connect Wakfu with Dofu and deal with Ogrest, which is kind of the major threat that links the two. And you could probably watch that final fight with Tristapan and Yugo fighting the Dofus dragons without any context and just marvel at it, because holy crap, dude, it's gorgeous. Like, oh, that's some good stuff. And then season 3 is where they get the new English voice cast, but again, at this point, you've listened to the French so much to just stick with the French. I don't know, there's a lot of neat ideas, and I really, really, really want to like Oropo, but I don't know. Season 3 just did not click with me like the other ones. I feel like there were too many ideas that didn't get fully realized or explained well or utilized. But I would still jump on top of season 4 the minute it comes out. I mean, I can grouse all I want. I'm hooked. I'm in it for the long haul. So.
Alrighty. And our next question is from Exidel. So just how strong do you think Werehog Sonic is? Would you say that Were Sonic's strength is equal to Sonic's speed? As a follow-up, in Scourge Lockdown's off-panel bits, we see the only Sonic locked up are Scourge and Were Sonic, both without inhibitor collars. Who wins in a fight?
See, here's the thing. If you're playing as Werehog and you're fighting any of the Eggman robots, until you're like max level, you have to use multiple hits to destroy them. Whereas Sonic, even without any upgrades, is boosting through them and obliterating them. So, as strong and as feral as Werehog is presented, gameplay-wise, he's considerably weaker than standard Sonic. Now, in the cutscenes, Werehog Sonic seems to be stronger because he does that whole, punch a safe open with a single blow. So it might be just kind of narrative strength versus actual technical gameplay strength, but I'm not here for that debate because I don't want to. In the terms of Alterverse Werehog and Scourge in Zone Jail, I don't know, I'm inclined to give it to Scourge. We don't know what Alter Werehog goes in for. Maybe he was, maybe he is the Sonic that did give in to the dark guy energy and did become corrupted. And Scourge is like, let me show you how it's done, and proceeds to, run all over his face.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure, why not? I don't have anything to add. Here's a question from Happy Times. Ian, can we consider Agent Stone the stronger Eggman fanatic now that we've seen how Stone crushes Starline? See what you did there. See what you did there. The answer is yes, by the way.
He wins by a large margin. You might say by a latte.
Yes, it's true.
Is it sad that for Sonic 3, there's going to be Shadow and who knows what else, but I'm more excited to see Agent Stone come back.
I mean, everyone should be. You should all be. I
kind of want him to just take over. Let him inherit the Eggman legacy.
I'm ready. I'm ready for Dr. Stone. Or would he still be an agent? I don't know. What even makes him an agent?
He was a military agent, although I don't think that's an actual classification or rank. Whatever. If he's going to take over, he can name himself whatever he wants.
That's right. Okay, fine. Maybe he'll just be Stone. Nothing fancy. And we got a question here from Jolene B. How would a sniper duel between Fang and Whisper go down? What would they think of each other? Optionally, they have backup from Bark and Bean and Tangle.
We actually covered this on the December 8th episode back in 2021. Do check out the Q&A master list over bumbleking.com. See if your question has been answered already. I don't expect you to go back all 6 years, but there's a search function. It's pretty easy. Now for the backup, let's make it even. If we got Bean and Bark, then we've got Tangle and Jewel. And that would just lead to antics, to be sure. Tangle, being a scrapper, is going to want to take on the fighter of the two. So she'd be fighting Bark. And Bark's a grappler. And he's a hefty fellow. Tangle would get in there and mix it up a little bit, but she wouldn't be able to do a lot of damage. But as Bark tries to get a handle on her, all he's going to do is keep grabbing more and more fistful of tail. And it just keeps being more tail. How is there more tail? He's getting frustrated, and oops, she ended up tying up his hands. Ha! Victory for Tangle. Jewel, meanwhile, is not a combatant, but she can fly. And Bean has a hard time hitting a moving target. So he's getting really frustrated that he can't actually blow her out of the sky until one wayward bomb hits the tied up Bark, incapacitates Bark, singes Tangle's tail. And now that she's free, she goes on and she mixes it up with Bean and pops him a good one on the bill. So I'm going to give that one to the ladies.
Sounds good to me. I agree. Pops him on the bill. Gives him the bill. He pays. There's no money, but he still pays. Keeper of Monsters has a question. Okay, I think this might be the closest to pushing Sega's buttons I will ever come, or this might be completely inconsequential. But with CD's good ending being canon and Metal coming back after CD in R, is Sonic 4 even still canon? If so, when is it nowadays, considering it was marketed as being right after Sonic 3 and Knuckles?
As far as I know, it's still canon, but clearly it's not after 3 and Knuckles. So at some point, Metal's got to go back to Little Planet and he's got to get punked again to be rescued.
And it will be during modern Sonic times because modern Sonic is the Sonic that's in it. So that's not confusing in the slightest.
Let's just for sake of argument, let's just imagine that Sonic 4 is the bridging game.
Still,
It's Sonic 4. It's got classic style mechanics, but it's got modern design. So, Metal Sonic will return to Little Planet as classic, get punked, and then be rescued as everything magically gets upgraded to modern.
okay.
Just smile and nod, man. I just roll with it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I miss when it was just, Master Emeralds on floating islands. There was a red guy and a blue guy, and like an orange guy, and then there was another guy who's like round and then has really long legs, nice legs, and yeah. There was a metal blue guy sometimes. There was a pink lady. Wait, no, that's an apple. There was a pink hedgehog. Yeah, I miss those days. And we got a question. Our last question for this episode comes to us from Finest Cacophony. In the June 22nd Priority Q&A BumbleKast, Kyle brought up that Starline isn't a mechanic. He's an engineer. So, of course, the immediate question that came into my mind is, now look, buddy, if Starline is an engineer, does that mean he solves problems?
Not problems like what is beauty, because that would fall within the purview of your conundrums of philosophy. Now, he solves practical problems. Like,
Yes.
How is he going to stop some mean Mother Hubbard from ripping me a superfluous new behind? The answer, use a gun. And if that doesn't work, use more gun.
Brilliant. Use more gun.
Maybe I've watched that clip too many times. No,
I mean,
there's never too many.
no, never too many. Never too many. Still love the heavy.
Oh yeah.
Man, all those are great though, man. Like,
What kills me about the heavy one is that it's pretty much just a tech demo.
it really is. It's like it's the very first one, and it's very simple, but it's
Like,
so effective.
They were just using the tryout lines and showing off what they could do in engine, and it spawned so much more.
Yeah. Yep. It's just man. It did such a great job with that freaking game, man. Just in terms of visual design and I don't know, everything about it is fantastic. Been forever since I played it though.
Yeah.
Oh well. I think they're like the lore and the characters and stuff are more enjoyable than the actual game though.
We're never going to get a finale for that comic.
Yeah, probably not. Unfortunately.
Oh well.
We will get a finale for this episode though.
Yep. Before we go, we need to give a big thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Do As Dizdin, Andrew D., Salute Your Cat, Jay Frost, Hero of Light 13, Scruffy Matt, Chris A., Ryan D., Sony, John M., Nunny, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Fiona M., Chevelle, Invade Turbo Tunis, Ben Wolfsbane, Blue Title Gamer, Tick Tick, Keeper of Monsters, Xanderoni the Painter, Axis, Final Neil, Jonathan D., Scurvy Pirate Hog, Nimric, Solaris Stain, The Name Is X, Godzilla, Daddler the Dalek, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedanti Cat, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Quaggle Gaggle, Chad, Professor Rye, Cameron H., Jennifer H., Arc Fighter, Les Nondel, Sapphire Skeleton, Jack the Animator, Preston M., Alphamon Oryukin, Noah S., Kojiro Highwind, Alex GS, Super Sonic Fan, Awesome Cakester, Radry, Chase L., Finest Cacophony, Red Wolf, Knights Ubel, Just a Mountain Soul, Callum Q., Jolene B., Joshua S., Omega Watt, Ty H., Maddie H., John the Real Waluigi, and Tails, Triplets Born, The Throne Awaits, KJB, In Zephyr, DeRoosevelt, Owen BD, Dapper Shinks, The Marble Gardener, T-Ranger, Force Sonic Fan, Lewis J, Lemur Chicken, Agent Kaz, Starlight Sec, Wild 48, Navari, Exadel, Michael P, Ty Cyan, Rhythm Raccoon, Dr. Meccano, Miles per Hour, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Miggy Sawdust, Pig Dan 20, Jinx, Jamal S, Lacey M, Unlikely Veronica, Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77, Oz Jam, Shimmy M, Angela V, Phi, Spiral Warrior, The Flower Garden, Sammy S, King Toasty, Tetsu Knife, Chaos Sonic 1, Digimon, Mobius, Speedweed, Seth Cube, The Might of Gabora, Z Cartoonist, Zoom, Phelps G, Ryuko Shion, Meta Mode, Danny the Light, Frost the White Lion, Agnes S, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog.
Triplets born to throw to weights. That's a great name.
Somebody's got to throw something in there just to throw
That one's
me
been
off.
in there for a while, though, I think.
I know. It's got to the point where I'm used to it. Something else will come along.
Yeah, that one's been in there for a while, so I think it doesn't seem as pronounced until now. Like when you read it, it was like, oh, I get it. And there they are. All those wonderful people. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you to everyone for listening. And hopefully you enjoyed the show. Or, I don't know, maybe you hate listening. In which case, whatever, you're still listening. That's fine. That's all that matters. I can't tell. Your hate listen is not differentiated in the analytics. So, thank you.
It's going to wrap us up for this episode. We will see you Wednesday for more Priority Q&A. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
We are a cast of bumbling. It is the BumbleKast. So we are two bumbling idiots doing a podcast.
So I imagine Tangle could get in there and mix it up. I accidentally punched the mic stand. I'm getting too into this already.
Apparently.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Here's a question from... Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah.